Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
And I don't think it's necessary for Sleepy Joe to constantly, he walks onto a stage, the people are, number one, there's no people there. And the few people that are there are 50 yards away? And the mask is always so large, it's like covers the whole thing. I shouldn't joke, because you know what? Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
Trump, leave the country. Is there a sense? I feel there's a sense that he understands where he's at. I do. I feel there's a sense. I've talked to several people who are real supporters of Trump, and their sense is, yeah, I think it's up. He didn't want to believe it. Oh, look at the flags. Look at the way that the crowds show up. Look at all of these things. Look at this stuff. There's no way it can't be him. It's impossible. There's just no way. It has to be. And that has kind of faded to, I don't know if he can do it. It's going to be close. To a few of them going, yeah, I think it's over. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Let's go back a few years, right? We'll get back in the Wayback Machine. It was like do here on the old Chad Benson Show. We'll go back to the Wayback Machine. This is insane. So listen to this. Here. This is 2016. John King, electoral map. Hillary, Trump.
And yet, Democrats are nervous, worried they have seen this movie before. 16 days out, here's the biggest question. Can you find a viable path to victory for Donald Trump, a viable path to 270 electoral votes? Well, it's incredibly difficult because of the state of play right now. We have Hillary Clinton at 307 electoral votes, Donald Trump at just 179. Takes 270 to win. Can Trump turn it around? Yes, but it would be extraordinarily hard.
That's 2016. That's Hillary and him, 2016. John King, a few days ago, talking about this same race.
16 days to Election Day, and here is the biggest question. Can Donald Trump find a path to victory, meaning a path to 270 electoral votes? You see how we have it right now, lopsided for Joe Biden. 290 electoral votes now, either solid or leading Biden's way. Only 163 for President Trump. Just look at these toss-up states. Let's assume even if Trump won Iowa, won Ohio, won North Carolina, won Georgia, and won Florida, it would still not be enough. Joe Biden would still have the lead. Donald Trump's hill is steeper than steep because Joe Biden is competitive in every one of these states.
Yeah. Is there a path? Of course there's a path. There's always a path. I'm never going to say that Trump's out of this thing. But I keep going back to this. Would you bet everything on Trump? And some of you would. But a lot of people I talk to are like, well, no, if it was held today, I'm going to put my money on Biden. Well, Chad, they got it wrong. They did get it wrong last time. They got it wrong and right. 3 outlets got it right. 3 outlets, 3 reputable polling companies got it right. The national side, it was right. They got it wrong in some states, and that was the big difference. Is there a case to be made for Trump? Of course. There's also a case against Trump. COVID is the case against Trump. Whether you like Trump or not, that's the Democrats thing saying, look, we have 220,000 deaths. I can lay all of that at his feet, even though he's done some really good stuff and some stuff he hasn't done. At the end of the day, that lands on your doorstep. That's your problem. And saying stuff like, I take no responsibility and things of that nature, that doesn't sit well with people. But yes, you can make an argument for Trump and you can make an argument against Trump. For Biden, what's the argument? Well, he's had 47 years. What has he done? What has he done? He's just not Trump. I tweeted out Friday, and I still think it's true to this second. The ballots should read Donald Trump Republican, not Donald Trump. That's kind of the way people are voting. Is Donald Trump the Republican, not Donald Trump? Do we need a new voice? Is the division real? I think there's a certain amount. I think Trump has. I think Ben Sass was right. I think there is a certain sense that he has courted some people or at least not done what he should have. And I don't blame him for the craziness that went on in Michigan. Right? You ask anybody who's been from Michigan, they'll tell you the militia's been there for a very long time. By the way, there's a video out of them training. I'm going to just throw this out there. I want everybody to understand this. If one of your things you're training in is a blue PT Cruiser, the chances of you pulling off whatever you think you're going to pull off has drastically decreased. See these guys driving around in a PT Cruiser doing training. Like, they got it down. This is it. What were they driving? A PT Cruiser. What color was it? It was electric blue. Good luck in finding them. It's just nuts. But yesterday's a perfect example of Trump coming out and doing it, going after Whitmer, which I think is stupid at this point in time.
You got to get your governor to open up your state, okay? And get your schools open. The schools have to be open, right? Lock it.
That's the same thing. Lock her up, lock her up. You know, look, this is the way I look at local politics, whether it be on the state level or the city level. If you're unhappy with what you have, you better figure out how to change it. If you're unhappy, if you look around, you look at Portland, you're seeing some cracks in Portland. Some of the people in Portland who were once thought to be untouchable are finding out after 100 and God knows how many days of rioting and acting out and stupidity and all of this stuff and the defunding of the police that people have said, well, we've had enough. Right? It's one thing to be open and understanding and allowing free speech. It's another thing to essentially throw away everything and allow people to run wild. If you're unhappy with Whitmer, you vote her out. You vote out the people that support her, and you put somebody else in place. But yeah, I think Trump has his struggles ahead of us. And we're going to find out this week. Debate number 2. What's that look like? How's that go? More and more, if I'm Trump and I let Biden talk. Your best bet now is let Biden talk. And I don't know if he's capable of doing that. I do not know if he's capable of doing that at all. Because we've debated that what if Trump loses, right? Like what if he loses? So he loses, boom, he's gone. What does he do? Where does he go? Does he stick around? Does he start a network? Does he take what does he do? When it comes to if I leave peacefully, which he's going to, I don't buy that he's going to just roll tanks around the White House. So he leaves. Does he go to Mar-a-Lago? Does he just sit around all day? Right? I would if I'm him. I'm never given the chance ever again. I close my Twitter and I shut everything down and I give nobody on the left any opportunity, nobody in the media any opportunity. I just go away. Absolutely go away and don't give them the satisfaction of making more money off. But now, if I'm him, though, and I still want to win this thing, the hardest thing for him to do is stuff like that. And Thursday night, he's got to figure out how to not be Trump.
Chris Christie said right after that first debate he thought the president came in too hot. Does he plan to be as disruptive this week as he was then? Will we see more of the same, or is he going to change his strategy?
I do think that President Trump is going to give Joe Biden a little bit more room to explain himself on some of these issues, whether it is, are you the chairman? Are you the big guy, as we've seen articulated in these emails? Do you support packing the court? I do think the president's going to want to hear Joe Biden's answer on some of these, and will definitely give him all the time that Joe Biden wants to talk about packing the court. I think he's going to get it on Thursday.
But will he? Because, see, here's the thing. There's a great article this weekend about you seeing, a few other Republicans, Corwin and other, who are stepping away. And he had a great quote, basically. It's like marriage, right? You married somebody, and you expect to do everything you can for them to change or for you to change them. That's not Trump. Trump's not changing. We talked to, Sean Spicer last week. And what did he say? We've tried. Everybody's told him. Everybody's implored with him. Everybody's asked him and begged him. Trump's 74. He doesn't do that. He's not changing for anyone. So don't be surprised if he doesn't. And I won't be surprised at all. I'll be more shocked Thursday if he allows Biden to speak. I'll be more shocked Thursday if it's not one of those nights that we saw 2 weeks ago. That to me will be more shocking than anything, because I just think he's just going to be Trump. He can't help himself. This is who he is. He's not changing, not for anybody. He's never saying sorry. He's never doing any of those things. He plows forward. He's a bull in a china shop, and he only has one gear, and it's forward. That's it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hope you had a good weekend. Wounded Paw Project, amazing organization. Been working with them a while. It's just a great group that rescues dogs that would otherwise be euthanized and gets them to our veterans, first responders, and their family. 20 veterans on average, and that's probably more today than ever before, are struggling and in many cases commit suicide. You look over and you see what's going on with our first responders or their family. Last month, so an average month for the VA to receive phone calls when it comes to struggling our veterans mentally with PTSD and other things, they average about 40,000 phone calls. It was 900,000 last month. Since this pandemic started, it is up 20-fold. They need your help. These animals are just amazing in what they can do and the comfort that they can provide, and it is invaluable, and they need your help. Now, what can you do? Well, you can give through the gift of a vehicle. It is simple. It is easy. You go to woundedpawproject.org and find out how you can give. Great tax-deductible gift. On top of that, you can donate cash or go to smile.amazon.org. And in giving, you're going to just see the difference that they make. The proceeds will use to protect, advocate, and train these dogs for our veterans, first responders, and their family. Find out what you can do. Go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. Continue to find out the things you can do. Maybe you can help in different ways, but really take a look at what they offer. WoundedPawProject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
I used to be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're ruining my life, bud!
You haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
After months of on-again, off-again talks on a stimulus, the window for action here is closing. And now House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is putting on a deadline. She says they need a deal by tomorrow. But that seems almost impossible. The two sides here are still far apart on how much to spend and what to spend it on, meaning millions of Americans who are still looking to Washington for some relief are likely going to have to wait until after the election.
Yeah. And I don't know what changes. Like, really, do you think that after the election, Trump really cares at that point if he doesn't win? And do you think Nancy's going to want to give in to Trump if he does? No, this is ridiculous. Why are you giving in to him now, Nancy, when you could have done it earlier? Why? Why? What are you doing? This is the crap that drives people crazy. This is politics. You know, somewhere in the middle, there's a trade-off. What's the trade-off? Well, you know what, Republicans, you're going to have to give a little bit more to the states, especially some of those blue states that are hurting right now because they've got huge government union pensions that they've promised everybody, and that you're going to have to give something in there. And hey, Democrats, you're going to have to give a little bit as well because you're not going to get as much as you want because we've already spent the hell out of the damn thing and continue to do so. And you're going to have to give a little bit. It's a trade-off. It's nothing more than that. But we can't seem to get it done. What we talk about here in negotiations, there are must-haves and a want. What's a must-have? Totally different than a want. Must-have is, this is what I absolutely must have. Period, case closed. And you've got to know within reason what your must-have is. So you say, I want $10 quadrillion for this. Realistically, right, I want that, but my must-have is I got to have at least 5. And over here, you're like, I'm not giving you 10 quadrillion, but I'd give you 5. But my must-have is I'm not giving you that, but I'll trade off and give you this. The must-haves and wants are different. Must-haves are these things are non-negotiable. I got to get something out of this for this. And the wants are, I want that, but if I don't get it, I'll survive. But nobody wants to give in. You would think. Behind the scenes, I talked to 3 people, 2 on the left, 1 on the right, both Congress people on the left are like, this is insane. Congressperson on the right's like, we're fine with doing something. You go look at the Senate. Mitch has his own thing. Mitch's thing is like he wants to give $1. Well, you're not going to do that. Mitch, you got to give a little bit more than that. One wants 3.5. The other wants $500 billion. Why not meet in the middle? Do like 1.7, 1.75, somewhere around there. We all kind of part as friends at this moment in time, but you're not going to do that because at this point in time, what is it? It's about politics. It's about a victory more than anything else. Last week, you saw it. As bad as they make Trump out to be, know this, she is as bad as it comes as well when it comes to her attitude. Watching her with Wolf Blitzer, basically saying you're an idiot, you don't know anything, we know the American people, because I'm just like them. We're the same. It's all the same. We're no different. I'm just like you. I mean, yes, I have $10,000 of ice cream, and I get to go to get my hair did. Yes, those things are totally different compared to everybody else, but the difference between me and you is I get them. You don't, Wolf. You don't get anything about those people. You sitting around in your fat cat lifestyle working on that big CNN dollar. Me just out here sweating for $174,000 a year. You just don't get it. Such an idiot. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your tweeter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Here's a question for you guys. What happens to the movement? Because Trump started something that's real. Trump did. He started something that was real. A lot of people out there, and we talked about it from day one. He gave a voice to a bunch of people, especially in flyover states, who didn't have a voice, who were sick and tired of being told by the likes of San Francisco, Los Angeles, D.C., and New York what they should and shouldn't believe in and how they should and shouldn't act. What happens if he goes away? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm terrified! Listen to me, Republicans! Listen! You are the people in history they warned us about! They warned us about people like you! Pay attention! We're losing our democracy! Wake up! Wake up!
She sounds sane. Totally like in... God, how do you get that emotional over stuff? I just can't do it. Can't. It's like, not over, like, voting and whether or not Trump's president. I can't. I'm sorry. There's nothing at all. At all. Because I think there's so many checks and balances in what we have here. The founding fathers, as frustrating as it can get, and as annoying as it can get, we have so many checks and balances in the way that our Constitution and the way that we are set up that I don't worry about whether or not, people are like, we're going to be tomorrow, it's going to happen, and we're going to be a socialist nation. There's no way. And it's just going to happen. If Biden, it's not going to happen. My God, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Honestly, what do you think? What do you think happens? It's like, Trump loses, Biden wins tomorrow. We're Venezuela? You think that's what's going to happen? You think overnight it's going to happen like that? You don't think people are fickle? You think that eventually, once it goes in a certain direction, that's it? It's never going to... The pendulum always swings. That was what we do. That's part of it. That's our problem. Rather than, this exhausted majority in the middle, I hope that we learn from whatever takes place in this election and the next couple elections of, hey, you know what? It's about having somebody who can understand. You don't have to agree with the other side of the aisle, but can you understand? Can you at least get it a little bit? Can you have an understanding of where they're coming from? And it's tough because we're so skeptical. It's hard to look at another politician and have an understanding of where they're coming from and not think to themselves, is this because you want votes? Because I feel like this is more about you want votes than you're really trying to figure out a way to help your constituents. You're just saying the right things. But when you hear stuff like that, then you hear stuff like this.
Biden is evil.
He's not evil. At no point do I think Biden is evil. He's maybe a little bit of a creeper, but do I think he's evil? It's hard when you've got Trump up there. And so Joe's a bit of a creeper. It's like, really? Joe's a bit of a creeper? But then I look over there and you got Trump who's got some more than questionable issues when it comes to some of his fun, if you will, in the adult nature.
Biden is evil. Trump must win. He's real. He will bring back the people's trust. These leftists are not for the American people. It's the biggest cover-up ever. Biden is an extension of the policies of Obama that weakened America, and we cannot let that happen again. The left are deceitful and have lied to the American people. They have stripped down her mighty powers for their own ego of power to rule the nation's economy. Let us ask God to rid this horror, and let us hold a candle on this land of the free and bring her back to the place she once stood proud.
John Voight. You don't have to like John Voight, but you're like, I don't even like that message. That's pretty awesome, though, just the way he does it. Sounds like he's reading from a script. Did you script that, John? Do you have somebody in front of you that's done that? He's evil. And everything about his evilness is evil. And it cannot stop being evil because he's evil. I don't think Joe Biden's evil. People ask me, why aren't you covering the Hunter Biden stuff? I'll tell you why. Not that I don't think it's an issue if all of it turns out to be true, but I don't chase ghosts. Let somebody else do that. The second thing is people ask me over the weekend, why are you not paying attention to the videos and stuff? Let me tell you something. I will never exploit somebody's worst part of their life with drug addiction and doing stupid things and having poor choices. I would never do that. I would never do that. I don't care. That's you go somewhere else for that. Right? You go somewhere else for that if you want that. Will potentially this open up a situation if the Republicans end up losing that they've got a new Benghazi that they could chase around? It's possible. But as far as the other personal stuff, that's not my gig. That's everybody else's gig. It's like it's so funny. It's like there's pictures of him and he's got like a crack pipe or a meth pipe and he's doing. I'm like, my sister struggled with it for years. My dad died from drugs. Finding somebody at their lowest point in their life when they're struggling with an addiction and then hammering them for that. Go somewhere else for that. Yeah, absolutely. Go somewhere else from that. That's not my gig. And I'm totally fine. Be like, I think you're an idiot. Go ahead. Go for it. Would you want your life exploited like that? Hell no. Hell no, you wouldn't. I care about what affects the American people. Why aren't we getting a stimulus? Why aren't we seeing another round of if you're going to shut everybody down and we've got this second wave that's about ready to arrive, if all of these things are going to happen, why aren't we out there figuring out a way to get something through instead of saying, well, it's 2 weeks to the election. We'll see how that plays out. Then we'll go from there. Because that's basically saying we'll see who's got the upper hand. At that point in time, who's going to have the upper hand? Are the Democrats or the Republicans? Because if either one of those, maybe they'll get a little bit more in the juice that they want. But that's not I don't want to play with people's lives. They do. I don't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. Tweet at me. Text the program as well. The other thing is, what happens? Let's just say for the sake of argument, Trump loses. Trump's built something. Whether people want to believe it or not, Trump has built something. He has brought people back into the world of politics. They had left. He has energized a group of people that felt like their voice was never being heard. He has changed the landscape of politics and maybe forever. And in doing so, the Republicans have an opportunity to figure out how they cultivate this and hold on. And I don't think it'll be easy, because I do believe there's a lot of people there who love Trump and the message. They don't love anything the Republicans are bringing. Is it Tom Cotton, the next guy? I don't think so. Who's the next person? Is there somebody out there? Because you need somebody with personality, but you also need, I was trying to explain to somebody the other day, well, I don't think this will go away, they said. I think these people are here. No, I think they are in some ways here, but not for the Republicans. And how do you cultivate that when you don't have that other big, powerful branding person behind it with a personality that's massive and name recognition? I don't think you've got that. Tell me who in the Republican Party can hold the mantle of being Trump as far as the personality. Take away the controversy, because I think that'll help. Not having the controversy 24/7, not having to always ignore what you just did, not having to explain to people, oh, it was just a retweet about Biden killing the SEALs. I mean, not having to be the crazy uncle, if you will. That'll be good. But who do you have? Because there's a group of people out there, a large group of people. Win or lose, Biden's going to realize that 50, 60 million plus people wanted nothing to do with Biden. 50 or 60 million people. Because you never know how many people are going to come out and vote. You don't. I mean, we're over almost 30 million people have already voted. That's huge. We're about 20% of what we were. And it's growing on a daily basis. So the question is if you're the Republicans, as some of them start to pull away, what do you do? How do you continue to push forward? And what are you looking for? Because you're going to have to figure out, do we go forward with a Trump message? We continue to push forward with Trump and the fight hard and that they're socialists and they're evil and the locker up rhetoric and all of these kind of things and the loud and the bold? Or do we try to figure out who we rally around? Because win or lose, you're going to have to figure out where you go from here. Because Trump's not going to be around. Even if he wins, he's got 4 more years. You know, one of the things that I've noticed is I go and I look at the Democrats, and the one thing I could say is, like their politics or not, they have cultivated a younger generation that is very, very well positioned to step up. I don't see a ton of that. You've got Nikki Haley, you've got Tom Cotton, you've got Rand Paul, but they've all been around for a bit. And do they resonate? I don't know. Somebody asked me, who do I think could be the future? I say Dan Crenshaw. For me, I look at somebody like Dan Crenshaw. Guy's former soldier, wounded in action, is very, very much a responsible and real Republican, understands. But is that enough? I don't know. But Trump has started a movement for a bunch of people out there who feel like they don't have a voice. A bunch of people out there who are frustrated and angry that D.C., Manhattan, San Francisco, and Los Angeles want to dominate everything and want their voice to be the voice, and that everybody else is minuscule and small. And because you don't have 12 museums in the space of 3 blocks and you know, theater and all of these amazing restaurants, that somehow your voice doesn't matter. And that resonated with a lot of people when Trump came through and said, those people are idiots. Those celebrities are idiots. Those politicians don't speak for you. And they felt like, hey, this guy's speaking for us. But how do you keep that? That's going to be the biggest question in the coming weeks and months if Trump loses. And even if he wins, well, it may buy you another 4 years. You still have to figure out, how do you keep those people engaged? Because I think a lot of people are Trump people and they'll follow Trump, but they may not follow the Republican Party. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Raycon best earbuds around. E25's amazing. I've got mine, so I'll go out and work out as I do every day. During the week, I'll go out and hit golf balls. I'll do some sprints, depending on how I'm going to work out. And I never worry about them falling out. I get 6 hours of talk time. They're freshly charged. I got seamless Bluetooth pairing. I got a better sound quality, better design. The way it fits in my ear is awesome. And the nice noise isolating fit. So whether I'm taking a call, making a video conference call, no matter what it is that I'm doing, I know these things are spot on perfect. And that is absolutely the thing you want. There's no dangling wires. There are no stems, because too often I've seen it. You go out, you got the little stems in there and they look goofy. You've got the wires when you're running or doing something, especially when I'm playing golf. I don't want any of that stuff like dangling. I don't want any of that. What I want is great sound quality and a fit that is amazing. That's what these give you. Plus the price point. Normally you'd pay about $200+ for something like these. Now you're going to pay a lot less, well under $100, and I'm going to save you. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad, buyraycon.com/Chad. When you do, you save an extra 15%. The best earbuds around, period, case closed. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
The 38-year-old Woodland Hills mother disappearing October 6th after taking a shuttle bus into the park for a solo hike through a canyon. But she never returned. Days passing with no signs of Courtier.
We were down to hours basically left of her search with their help.
A park visitor telling rangers they'd seen her in the park. Search and rescue crews finally tracking her down. The 38-year-old now being treated at a local hospital, back with her family.
Now, I'm going to say this. I'm always skeptical of stuff like this. Not that she didn't get lost, because she's out there for 12 days. Just the whole how it happened, right? And I sent the guys the picture, and they're like, she's got those eyes, man. That smiling eyes, where she kind of turns her head at you, and you think, uh-oh, I better hide all my small animals. And Chad, you're a jerk. You're a jerk. Apparently she had lost her job, and she wanted to, her daughter said that she just wanted to take some time for herself. But it's just the whole thing is odd. It feels that way. It's like, no, you got lost for 12 days. You were on a little tour. They drop you off, and you're supposed to be back. And it's 12 days before. Like, how far could you have gone in those few hours to get lost? She's okay, which is fantastic. Absolutely.
Courtier's family thanking all of the rescuers and searchers who helped look for the 38-year-old and ultimately helped find her, as she is in the hospital. Her family says she's lost a lot of weight and she is covered in bruises. But most importantly, they say she is alive.
Yeah, and that's what matters. I'm not saying anything nefarious, but I think part of the problem is because we've seen stuff in the past that ends up people like rally around somebody, and then you find out, oh, it turned out to be fake, or it turned out they did something on purpose. And I'm not saying that's this, but I'm much more cautious in these situations, if you will. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Almost 30 million people have voted. Some people are waiting to vote. They're worried.
We decided to come and drop our ballot off because we didn't want to mail it in.
Marie Antoinette Brown says, nope, she's in Florida. I want to bring it there. I don't trust the mail. I get that. I think on the night, Trump is going to have a huge advantage on the night. But I think you'd be fooling yourself to think that these 30 million people who have voted are not voting against him. I'm not saying all of it, but if you go and see who's requested ballots, now that's picking up in some areas, it's shrinking in others, but the Democrats hold a big lead in that. And now can he on the night, does he have enough to come out and push people forward to get him over the hump? Is it going to happen? I don't know. Some people love Trump. Some people realize Trump's got issues.
I think Donald Trump has a problem with all women. He definitely has a problem with suburban women. So now if you're talking about, white college educated women, those women have been trending away from him to begin with.
Yeah. Wasn't like that was his super strength anyways. But it hasn't helped when you come out and you say some of the things you do. and you act some of the way you do, that people get pissed. People get angry. And whether people want to believe it or not, there's something that is personality related when it comes to elections. Sometimes we vote for the person we actually think, I'd have a beer with them. I'd like them to come over for dinner. And I know we shouldn't think that, Chad, that's the dumbest thing. All that matters is action. Look, I'm a huge fan of what did you do? Not the words, but did you do the task that you set out to do? And he has got some victories. He's got some losses too. He's not perfect. But for a lot of people, that truly matters, is even though you've accomplished a lot, you've worn out your welcome. Even though you've done some things that I agree with, whether it be the courts or whether it be, tax breaks or pulling our soldiers out or something, even though you've done some of those things that you promised you were going to do, at the end of the day, I don't like you. Maybe, just maybe, it's his attitude and not the actions that have repelled these people. And I think there's something to that. People don't want to admit that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
He will surrender your future to the virus. He's going to lock down. This guy wants to lock down. He'll listen to the scientists. If I listened totally to the scientists, we would right now have a country that would be in a massive depression. Instead of, we're like a rocket ship. Take a look at the numbers.
Are we?
And that's despite the fact that we have like 5 or 6 of these Democrats keeping their states closed.
Yeah, we do. We have 5 or 6 Democrats, as Gavin Newsom being one. Gavin Newsom, though, he's nuts. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm not a Gavin Newsom fan at all. And he is what they're doing. I couldn't tell you what California's doing. If you ask me, what are they doing? I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah. It's just one day they cancel trick-or-treating. The next day it's like, no, people complained. We're going to bring it back. Based on what science? What science did you cancel it? What science did you bring it back? And how do you do that in 24 hours? We're going to open up the schools probably in November. What changes in November? It looks like it's getting worse out there. I mean, the mortality rate's going down, and that's what I want you guys to look at when it comes to coronavirus. Will Biden shut it down? To me, and it's just me, I could be wrong. Like, Biden's going to look out there. And I think he's going to let the scientists like Fauci and them take the lead. And if Fauci says we need to shut the entire country down and we may have to do it for 60 to 90 days, I think he'd do it in a heartbeat. And if Fauci says, I think these vaccines, I worry about them and I worry about the FDA and the CDC and that they've been, poisoned with Trump people, we need to slow this thing down and maybe go back out and relook at it, I think he would do it. Is that right or wrong? Well, you find out. Could it get worse? Absolutely, it could get worse. Do I think we need everybody at the table? Because I think there's a lot of credible scientists out there that think we've gone too far. And that the mental health aspect, as well as the physical aspect and several other things, is starting to become worse than the disease itself. And we need to address everything across the board. It's a problem with science. You ask any science. Science is not perfect. Science is science. You publish something. Why do you publish it? So other peers can review it, and they're going to try to find flaws in your argument, holes in the process of which you came to whatever position you come to. This isn't going anywhere. At the end of the day, this is going to be perceived as Trump's biggest failure. And it's how you look at things, right? Remember originally it was 2 million people were going to die. And then it was down to like 1.6. And it was down to, I heard last week or 2 weeks ago, it was going to be about 400,000 people were going to die by election. We're 2 weeks from election. Tomorrow, we're 2 weeks exactly. We have 220,000 people. And we can't say enough, oh my God, I don't want anybody. Nobody wants anybody to die. Here's the reality. Nobody gets out alive. No matter if it's the coronavirus, cancer, a car crash, just natural causes. Nobody escapes alive. Nobody does. Nobody does. Chad, did you hear that Trump said that 85% of people who caught the coronavirus in the last 2 weeks said they were wearing a mask? First of all, buyers are liars. I better tell everybody I was wearing a mask all day. What were you doing? I was at a huge party. Nobody was wearing a mask. We were licking each other's faces. But I better tell them. Do I think masks are perfect? No, I don't think masks are. First of all, if you're buying your mask in line, right? So you're in line somewhere, right? Like maybe like, I need a couple new shirts. You go to Old Navy or Target and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm buying a mask. Chances are it's not medically sound. I'm just going to throw it out there. Probably not medically awesome. Is it better than nothing? Yeah, I would say that. But is it perfect? No. Do I think it's if you wear a mask, it's all or nothing kind of thing? No, because I'll tell you why. If that was true, why are we shut down? Do I think they can slow the spread? Yeah. But that's not stopping the spread. But this will go down for a lot of people as the failure. You have 220,000 extra deaths. Now, how many of those are real extra? And by that, I mean, you look at the numbers. As you go and you look at the numbers. Most of the people are in their 70s and 80s and older who have comorbidities. If they would have caught the flu, chances are they probably would have struggled to survive. Remember, 2 years ago, we had 80,000 people died of the flu. 2 years ago. We have a vaccine and therapeutics, and a lot of people that died were much younger. But for many, this will be his absolute failure. And if you're Joe Biden, right, and you win, every day it's Trump's fault. Every day it was all Trump's fault. Every day it's totally Trump's fault. You get something right, it was like I had to fix Trump's issues. Every single day. Your first go round, if you decide to run for 8 years, which I think would be crazy, but if you did, it's all Trump's fault. Everything is Trump's fault. Obama had it for the first 3-4 years. Everything was Bush's fault. Well, the bankers, Wall Street, and Bush, it's a total mess. So now here's the case for Trump. Right? We talked about the failures of Trump. Let's be real. He's had some failures. Nobody's perfect. 0 people are perfect. 0 people are perfect. Obama wasn't perfect. He got us into a ton of wars that we shouldn't have been into. We should not have been into. Of all of the, oh my God, the wealth gap is growing. It grew faster under Obama than just about anybody else. So the left was pissed at him about that. He deported more than Trump has. There was a lot of things you could point to Obama. If you're on the left, you can say, well, there's some problems there. There was. And I don't think as much as our, going over and bowing to everybody was the exact opposite of what Trump has done. At the end of the day, we had division in this country and still continue to have division. Can't blame it all on Trump. A lot of people would. But you go up and you say, okay, well, what are some of the accomplishments of Trump? Because he had to have some. First of all, ISIS, the caliphate, crushed him. Al-Baghdadi, that's a huge win. Arguably, a bigger, important assassination was somebody who was truly active. At the end of the day, Osama bin Laden was done. He was hiding. Nobody cared anymore. You were shambles of your own self, and you were sitting around watching adult films on VHS and DVDs, and you were done. You were done. But it was a great win for the country. Probably for me, the last time I can remember all of us coming together. That was a win for Trump. First Step Act, a big win for Trump. Bipartisan support in Congress, a huge win for Trump. Federal sentencing laws overhauled, reducing mandatory minimum sentence for drug felonies, make it retroactive to 2010. To me, that's a victory. You did something there. The right to try, another victory for Trump. Tax reform. Some people hate it. Some people don't. Some people are mixed feelings, but the corporate tax rate, bringing it back to somewhere that's competitive globally, I think was big. And yeah, it did boost the economy. And people did get money in their checks. Space Force. Oh, that's a joke. No, it's real. It's absolutely real. By the way, we've had Space Force for since the 40s. So it was just called something different. But that's massive. Redirecting money, putting money into something like that was a huge, that's not going anywhere. That's not. The federal judges, massive win for Trump. 110%. The way that he's reshaped the courts for potentially decade or two is huge. So yes, he's had some victories and he's had some losses. But at the end of the day, is it the personality side of things? And I know people are like, I don't know how do you even say that? How do you say it's a personality side of things? But you heard all those accomplishments. I did. I heard all those accomplishments. 100%. And he had some failures. And one of the failures is staring everybody in the face, which is COVID, where you've lost your job, you've lost your home, you've lost your business, you've lost a lot of stuff, and you don't see anything on the horizon. And you feel like, or you lost a family member, or you lost and you're like, this guy's not just been empathetic at all. He showed us nothing. He didn't care. It's the way people feel. At the end of the day, it may come down to, do you want 4 more years of chaos? You can make a case for and against just about everybody. It's hard with Biden, but one thing that you got now that you didn't have those many years ago, 4 being exact, is you got a track record now. But you also got a track record when it comes to the things he's accomplished, and he hasn't, but you also have a look into what another 4 years might look like. Chaos, craziness, accusations, fights, Democrats overreaching in certain things, Democrats trying to impeach, which is crazy. There's no doubt in my mind if he wins again, he'll be impeached again. No doubt in my mind. Adam Schiff and them are looking every single day, and they'll come and they'll try to find something. Zero doubt in my mind. The tax thing will continue to be an issue. The tweeting. Some people are just over the show. They're like, it was fun. It was something I think we needed. We needed somebody who was going to look our allies in the face and said, you know what? You guys have been living off of us for a very long time. Especially our NATO allies. We've been paying the full rate, and it's easy to have, single payer health care in your country when you don't have to pay for anything. It's time for everybody to ante up. What happens? I couldn't tell you, because we are 14 days after tomorrow. So we're 14 and a half days now until election time. And remember, we've been voting. We're over 30 million votes cast right now. Producer Phil and I were just talking how many people are still waiting in line. You thought, well, first couple days, that might be an anomaly. But no, people are still waiting 6, 7, 8 hours in line in Georgia and places like that. Other people are waiting a couple hours. That is not slowing down. This has the potential to be massive. We say that every time. This time may be really, really, really close to being that massive. And this has one person on the ballot. Trump and Trump. Not Biden and Trump. Donald Trump, yes, or I'm voting against Donald Trump, anybody but him. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter, tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hello, Fresh. Got a new box delivered today. Looks delicious. It's to me, it's just so much easier because I work so many hours. Think about this. I'm up in between 2 and 2:15 every day. Get to work about 3:15. I don't get out of here till 6. I'm not home till 7. I got lizard stuff to do. For those of you guys who don't know, I have a lot of lizards and a lot of snakes. Got a new snake over the weekend. We'll talk about that later. So I've got all of these things that I have to do. And guess what? It's hard. And I don't want to think about stuff. Sometimes I just want to go in and just get it done. And that's where HelloFresh comes in. 22 chef curated recipes each week. Low calorie, vegetarian, family friendly. Fall is here. Chance to change up things. The family friendly is coming with lots of comfort food. The stuff I like, meatloaf and things like that. It's incredible. About 20 minutes or so, give or take, to go from I'm choosing this and then getting it on your table. And the savings are big, about 40% versus shopping at your local store. Plus the food waste. You're not wasting any food because it's the right amount of portions. And my son will be here next week. He's 10. He goes through. So starting next week, I've ordered a ton of food because you can do that. You can add meals. You can skip meals, whatever it is. HelloFresh is there to fit your lifestyle. Right now, America's #1 meal kit. You can get started by going to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson. You can get $80 off across 5 boxes, including free shipping on your first box. That's promo code Benson for $80 off in savings. HelloFresh.com, HelloFresh.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad.
The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look and see the trending things on the old internet. Trending on the old interwebs. Let's start with Twitter, because it's always got crazy stuff. It's usually just political. Scott Atlas has come under fire from an infectious disease specialist. Said he reported a theory of herd immunity. Could be wrong. And of course, Trump retweeted something, and that's gone. False and misleading statements. But it's hard to say, because at Twitter, I don't know if I trust your false and misleading, just like with Facebook. We posted a picture, we get in trouble for it. We didn't do anything, it was a picture. But it's silly. And why do you have to nanny state us? We're doing it for your own good. Sorry. Let people decide for themselves if they're idiots or not. You don't need to nanny state everybody's. You do. Now, if the president's saying go outside and do X, Y, and Z, and you go do that, isn't that thinning the herd? Isn't it? Chad, I'm just saying. Right? You listen to the scientists, you talk to your doctors, you make an informed decision. If a meme somehow changes your life, who's that on? That's not on me. That should be on you. I'm just saying. Head on over to the magical world of Google, this is where some normal world comes in. Packers lost yesterday to Tampa Bay. See the way I did that? Instead of Tampa Bay, 38-10. Great game. They were up 10-0, the Packers, and 38 consecutive points, including a couple quick interceptions that turned the tide. The Bears win. Broncos beat the Patriots, who didn't look great. And then Tua Tagovailoa, I don't know if you saw that. So he got in the game. This Tua Tagovailoa was potentially the number 1 pick this past season. It could have been. Heisman favorite. And he stays in a game too long, and he pulls the Bo Jackson. Dislocates his hip. It's nasty. They put it back in, and Miami says we're going to pick him, and they pick him with an early first-round pick. But they got a quarterback. Fitzmagic. Love Fitz. So Tua got in the game yesterday. They were whopping up on the Jets, who were just awful, and that's being kind. At the end of the game, he gets in, throws 2 passes. Both are complete. They win. But nobody's allowed in the stadium. So he's bummed. He goes out to where his first pass was caught, and he sits down and he FaceTimes in a stadium basically by himself. He's in his uniform still, and somebody's got a great picture of him out there. That was it was cool. And Chris Pratt, people are divided over claims that he's secretly a Trump supporter, and that's the worst thing you can be in Hollywood. The worst thing that you can be in Hollywood is supporting somebody on the right. Doesn't matter who it is. But a Trump supporter? That'll get you excommunicated fast. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. If that was true, they would let him do one more movie, and it would be the next Jurassic Park, and he'd get eaten in the first scene wearing a MAGA hat. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Are they going to get a stimulus done? I don't know. Do you know they haven't talked for a year? Here's Speaker of the House. I said it last week and I stand by it. If Donald Trump calls, I don't know if she'd take his calls. If she called, I know he'd take hers. How could you say that? I easily just said it because that's the way I feel. The way she treated last week old Wolf Blitzer there, and she tore Blitzer a new one. I don't care if you were once a reindeer, Wolf. I don't care about that. I don't care that you were Blitzer and Don, and I don't care about any of that stuff. You don't know anything about the American people, and I do. I'm better than you because I know about their suffering. I know about their pain because I go through with every single day. You don't know anything. You're just a stooge for the party. She went off on him. I'm like, what? Are you? You're maybe a little unstable. Chad, that's not very nice. But at some point in time, we got to get something going. Today, they said they may talk. I don't know what it looks like. But there's got to be give and take, and this is what American families are looking for. What are you guys going to do? You've dragged this thing on long enough. Mitch, I hold you responsible for not putting something out there that was the trillion and a half dollars, as long as it's put out there in the right way, I think is okay. They're probably looking at $2 trillion. I don't think it needs to be $3.8 trillion, Nancy. Nancy wants to drag it on into next year, and then she's talking about more stuff. I think we can go 90 days at a time, 60 days at a time, and then go from there. And then you decide what you need to do. At this point in time, this thing isn't going anywhere. Not right now. We've got the holidays here. How is that going to look? That's something else, right? We've got Thanksgiving coming up. So as far as people say, what are you going to do for Jack? Jack's coming out here for Halloween. We're going to go trick-or-treating. We know the places. I'm not worried about it. I'm just not. I'm not worried about it. He's 10. He's in great shape. I'm not worried about it. You go look at the numbers, and here's the science side of it. I look at the data. The data says that the flu is 10 times worse for him than this, and the flu is not going to kill him unless something really goes wrong. He's got underlying conditions. Very rarely does it happen. Does it happen once in a while? Of course. Do people get eaten by sharks? Yes. Do planes crash? Yes. All of those things are real. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to be more than fine. But then you've got the other side of stuff. You've got winter's going to arrive. The flu season's going to be here. I think naturally with us social distancing, I think we're going to be fine. But then people are worried about what about the holidays? Like what about Thanksgiving? Right? This is going to be weird. Well, it's going to be weird anyways. First of all, throw in that you'll have had an election. And potentially 4 years ago, your liberal nieces and nephews and aunts and whatnot are going to gloat if they won, or they're not going to show up because your side won again. But you got to figure something out. Are you going to have the Thanksgiving feast?
If you want to see other family members, there's a set of steps you can take, from really keeping yourself quarantined for a couple of weeks going in, limiting the number of people, working on ventilation inside. It's not going to be an easy holiday season.
Dr. Shah there. She's Shah. It's not. It's not. But a lot of people are going to be like, this is the perfect time for me not to go over to my family's. This is a great time for us not to get over there. It's a good time for us to say, you know what, Aunt Karen, I don't feel like coming this year. I know. And I'm not doing any FaceTime. I already told everybody that. I'm not FaceTime. We're not a close people anyways. My family's really weird. So I'll give you guys, this is what we normally do. We go out to eat. My mom's like, I don't want to cook. I got the kids. We like to shop and go out and, that's normally what we do is we'll go grab a dinner. And my mom's like, it's perfect. You go out, you grab dinner. People feed you, and then you go do what you want to do. The only bummer is leftovers. Well, that's kind of why you have it. You don't have it for the meal itself. You have it for the leftovers. So it's going to be an interesting holiday for sure. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Will it happen? Won't it happen? Stimulus? I don't know. What's going to happen in the coming days? Remember, there's 3 days until we have another debate. How big will that be? That's going to be very interesting to see how big that will be. Can Trump actually do something in this next debate? The last debate, he came, he dominated, he ran around, he did all kinds of things that didn't allow Biden to really speak. And if you're on the fence and you want to hear what Biden has to say, that doesn't help you. If you think Biden and him talking is Biden's biggest issue and that he's somehow in way, shape, or form going to talk himself in circles and not answer any questions, then you answering all the questions and fighting for him doesn't help you.
Chris Christie said right after that first debate he thought the president came in too hot. Does he plan to be as disruptive this week as he was then? Will we see more of the same, or is he going to change his strategy?
I do think that President Trump is going to give Joe Biden a little bit more room to explain himself on some of these issues, whether it is, are you the chairman? Are you the big guy, as we've seen articulated in these emails? Do you support packing the court? I do think the president's going to want to hear Joe Biden's answer on some of these, and will definitely give him all the time that Joe Biden wants to talk about packing the court. I think he's going to get it on Thursday.
Jason Miller, I don't know if he's going to get that. I don't know, because Trump says a lot of stuff. Like, he says all kinds of, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then what happens? He opens his mouth and he can't stop himself. He tweets because Trump knows Trump best. Trump got himself here. He's going to live or die on Trump's words, his actions, his tweets, all of that stuff. He doesn't know how to not do that. He's his own best salesman, and at times he's his own worst enemy. So as much as I think he would like to, I don't know if that's possible for him to do that. I don't. But it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough for Trump in the coming days to make up some of this ground. Is it impossible? I do not believe it is impossible. Let's get the Wayback Machine. We go back. This is 2016. You guys remember 2016? So 2016, the polls day in and day out held a nice lead for one Nancy Pelosi. I mean, not Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. Held a nice lead across the board. Now, the lead was bigger and then it shrunk. A lot of people said to themselves, hey, you know what? She's not going to some of these places. She's just poo-pooed Wisconsin altogether. This middle America, she's left out there and vulnerable because I think she feels like, and Trump, in between lock her up and Benghazi and emails, what did he say? He said, jobs. People are like, oh. So, 2016, Hillary, Trump, polls.
And yet, Democrats are nervous, worried they have seen this movie before. 16 days out, here's the biggest question. Can you find a viable path to victory for Donald Trump, a viable path to 270 electoral votes? Well, it's incredibly difficult because of the state of play right now. We have Hillary Clinton at 307 electoral votes, Donald Trump at just 179. Takes 270 to win. Can Trump turn it around? Yes, but it would be extraordinarily hard.
Could he turn it around? Extraordinarily hard. That's 2016. So that's 4 years ago. Now things have changed. Polls have gotten much better. The polls weren't wrong. I remind everybody that at the end of the day, they got it right in the side of popular vote, but they got it wrong in the electoral college vote. Why? Because states, they missed certain states. So to say that it's impossible would be a lie. Case in point, same gentleman, John King, CNN, 4 years, almost to the day that he did that.
16 days to Election Day, and here is the biggest question. Can Donald Trump find a path to victory, meaning a path to 270 electoral votes? You see how we have it right now, lopsided for Joe Biden. 290 electoral votes now, either solid or leading Biden's way. Only 163 for President Trump. Just look at these toss-up states. Let's assume even if Trump won Iowa, won Ohio, won North Carolina, won Georgia, and won Florida, it would still not be enough. Joe Biden would still have the lead. Donald Trump's hill is steeper than steep because Joe Biden is competitive in every one of these states.
Yeah. At least according to polls. Take it for what you want. And that's what I hear all the time. Well, the polls are wrong. They've always been wrong. They'll continue to be wrong. They've not always been wrong. And this is their job. And the polls that I saw in the last election that fared extremely well, that got it right, have Joe Biden ahead. But it's not as big as a lot of these other polls who've got, Joe Biden up by 15, 12, 14. They have him up by about 6 to 8. I think that's a fair assessment. So Thursday night will be huge. Can Trump do something that can turn the tide? About 16 days before the last election, two things as far as polls went. She was up huge in Pennsylvania and Michigan to the tune of double digits, and she lost both of those. Can he do that again? The difference between these, though, she was highly unlikable. Joe's really not. Secondly, and this is most important, Trump didn't have a record. He's got 4 years on the record now. And that makes all the difference. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I could listen to this lady all day. Her voice is beautiful. When you listen to her, you're like, wow, that right there is everything. When you think of sirens, so you know what a siren is? Old ship guys would tell tales of sirens. These women, like mermaid-like creatures that would sing these beautiful songs, and it was irresistible, and that they would drag your ship. You would just go wherever their songs were coming from because you had to hear what that beauty was all about. What was this beautiful noise? What is it? And then what would happen? Your ship would get into rocks and you would crash, and then you would be preyed upon. This woman reminds me of that.
I'm terrified. Listen to me, Republicans. Listen. You are the people in history they warned us about. They warned us about people like you. Pay attention. We're losing our democracy. Wake up. Wake up.
She's beautiful. How about you? All right. I can listen to that all day just because I've never in my life seen people lose it that much over something like this. Like if your husband has an affair, your wife has an affair, if something crazy happens, God forbid to your children or something, you could, that's totally, this is, well, you don't understand. No, I do understand. And remember, we have checks and balances in place. Our founding fathers put certain things out there that balance the system. And we are a fickle bunch. We may hand everything to the Democrats. They'll overstep. They'll add people to the courts, and we'll say, sorry, that's not what this is about. And once again, you've done something you didn't like. And then we turn and we go, you guys can't be trusted either. And yes, take back everything. But she is beautiful. That's what a siren sounds like. Wee-oo, wee-oo. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Rough greens. Doodle likes his rough greens. He does. Eats them up. So my dog Doodle had fatty tumors on his hips, and he had really bad arthritis. And we got him. We adopted him. We were going to be his forever home. We thought he was much younger. He ended up being double the age we thought he was. And so we thought, well, based on all this stuff, we're not going to be able to keep him alive very long because over the year or two we had him, those tumors had grown, and the arthritis had gotten to the point where we couldn't do anything with him. So we tried rough greens. Now it's not dog food. It's a supplement. You just sprinkle it on your dog's food. It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables. It's got omega-3, 6, 9. They love the way it tastes, and it changed everything. Within about 5 to 7 days, you noticed. Within about 10 days, it was a totally new dog. Here we are 6-7 months into it, and he is as happy and as bouncy as anything you've ever seen. It's $14.95 for a 2-week jump start, so it's less than $15. You put it to the test. I'm telling you guys right now, it is amazing. Our puppies love it. Doodle loves it. If you love your animals like I love my animals, especially your dogs, try this to see the difference. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-88, 833-MY-DOG-88. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
So, you got the Dodgers coming back from 3-1, going to play Tampa Bay in the Major League Baseball World Series at the new city. I don't know. It's a new stadium in Texas. There's going to be 12,000 fans there. So the Dodgers from L.A., L.A. Lakers, world champions. Tampa Bay, obviously from Tampa Bay. Their hockey team won the Stanley Cup. But controversy over a Laker and a basketball player that's not a Laker, Sue Bird. So this has been blowing up for the last couple of days. And I'm going to say something that everybody would understand. Wouldn't say it out loud because you don't want to feel that, you want to make sure everybody knows you're woke. So Sue Bird, she's 40. She's won everything you can win women's basketball. I think she's won another title. So there's this thing that says Sue Bird, LeBron James, 17 seasons in WNBA, 17 seasons in the NBA, 4 WNBA championships, 4 NBA championships. 2020 salary. Sue Bird made $215,000. 2020 salary. Oh my God, LeBron James, $37.44 million. She got $11,400 for winning. He got $370,000 for winning. Oh my God. And people are pissed. One person tweets out, I'ma sit right here. Yep, look. Okay, sit. What do you want to know? Has nothing to do with who's more dominant or not. It has all to do with revenue. What kind of revenue does the WNBA? How much revenue does WNBA generate? This goes back to the business side of things. Does the WNBA generate revenue? It's a tax write-off. The NBA is like, we should totally have this. It'll make us look good, and we could use the tax write-off. It's not very nice, Chad. It's not. By the way, these women go to Europe, and they make low 7 figures, high 6 figure salaries for playing a few months in Europe. Not all of them. Not all of them. But at the end of the day, what is it? People are like, this definitely, first of all, I don't ever trust a man who I don't trust a male feminist, and I don't ever trust a man who's like, this definitely needs to change and change in a hurry. The women's game of basketball is endured and is here to stay. The comparison is astonishing and difficult to look at. First of all, what's difficult to look at? Secondly, it's a revenue thing. One brings in $7.4 billion. The other one is a tax write-off. What are we looking up here? It's a dollars and cents thing. That's it. At the end of the day, if the women brought in more, pay them more than the men. I got no problems with that. I only look at the money. And if you took away the genders and you just put out an Excel spreadsheet of who made money and who didn't make money, and you didn't tell me which is which, this is male, this is female, I would still go, they make more money, so they deserve more money. Well, that's not very nice. No, it's honest. In this day and age, we shy away from that because I'm like, what would you like me to say that wouldn't hurt your feelings? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at us. Plus, it's not fun to watch. It's just awful to watch. Chad! Well, they're both awful to watch, so that's a double win. See? I insulted both there. Are you happy? I am. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
There are just 15 days to go until the final votes are cast, and Joe Biden is off the campaign trail. The Democratic nominee is in Delaware today. A source familiar with Biden's schedule tells ABC the former vice president is meeting with advisors and doing debate prep today. The second and final presidential debate is scheduled for this Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Kristen Welker, who Trump's not a big fan of, and I understand she's not a fan of his. Let's be real. It's hard to find somebody in the media that likes Trump unless you're on Fox, and even then, that's Fox media personalities. I think some of the other personalities that I talk to over there are kind of over the antics, and I don't know. Trump needs this. He needs this big time. I thought he's got 3 chances to change people's minds. Can he change people's mind? Biden has been absolutely smart. Just keep your mouth shut because you talk yourself into all kinds of crap. You wander around aimlessly, just talking, making up weird stories about me and Corn Pop hanging out like little kids, touching my legs because my hair legs. You go in weird directions. People think, I don't know if I can hire both of them, right? You got crazy uncle over here and crazy uncle over here. That's the best choice has. America has 2 crazy uncles. It's it's what it feels like. But this is it. Trump's got to figure something out. This is it. Trump's got to do something. Trump's got to do something. I think he realizes, I'm not doing well in the polls. I'm struggling more than a little bit. I got to turn up the heat on Biden. And what's the best way to do that is to let Biden be Biden and potentially run himself into the ground. That's what you would think you would do if you're Trump. But he doesn't always follow those things. He doesn't. At all. Trump says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to allow him to talk. I'm going to go out there. Jason Miller was all over all weekend long. One of Trump's surrogates, one of Trump's closest confidants, and there's not a lot of them left because they all seem to be running away or quietly trying to figure out what they're going to do. But he even said, all right, this is what we're going to try to do.
Chris Christie said right after that first debate, he thought the president came in too hot. Does he plan to be as disruptive this week as he was then? Will we see more of the same, or is he going to change his strategy?
I do think that President Trump is going to give Joe Biden a little bit more room to explain himself on some of these issues, whether it is, are you the chairman? Are you the big guy, as we've seen articulated in these emails? Do you support packing the court? I do think the president's going to want to hear Joe Biden's answer on some of these, and we'll definitely give him all the time that Joe Biden wants to talk about packing the court. I think he's going to get it on Thursday.
But that's not the way it is. We spoke to Sean Spicer last week. He said, you know what? I thought he'd learn from the COVID thing. I thought he would change his ways. I thought you're not going to be able to, change him. And that's what people have to realize. I think it was John Cornyn over the weekend that said, it's like, here's the thing with Trump. It's like going into a marriage, thinking you're going to change somebody or that person's going to change. Very rarely does it happen. You kind of know what you're getting with Trump. So he may say, I'm going to come out and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. He may even start out that way. But somewhere along the line, the script is going to go exactly as we think it's going. Which is maybe it's 10 minutes in, maybe it's 15 minutes in, but Trump and him are going to start to battle. Then he's going to fight with the moderator. Then it's going to go back and forth, and then they're going to yell at each other. And then he's going to call Trump a name, and Trump's going to call him a name. Then they're going to bring up each other's family, and we're going to be sitting there going, okay, what did we learn from this? I don't know. But what I do know is at this moment in time, if I look at the polls that I find to be I don't think people say, well, they're not very reputable. They got it right in the popular vote. They got it wrong in the electoral college vote. And they got it wrong in a few states. This is their job. If they fail at this one to the point where it's so nasty that you're like, oh my God, then I have news for you. Nobody will ever. And remember, these polls don't just pop up every 4 years for president. They're there all the time. This is the data that people live off of in the business world as well as the political world. And if you fail at the biggest thing again, people are going to start going, well, we're going to start collecting our own data on the inside, and we're no longer going to use you. The 3 polls that you look at from the last election that got it right have Biden up, but it's not insurmountable like it was that many people thought in 2016. And even now, when you look at other polls, he's up by 17 in this state. He's up by 21. They have it across the board. He's up anywhere between 6 and 8. And I think that's fair, which is not insurmountable at all. I just don't know if there's enough of those late voters, which is the thing that changed everything for Trump. People going in the last election in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, Florida, they're going in and they're like, I don't know who to vote for. And then on the way out, when you saw undecided and late voters broke overwhelmingly for Trump, that's huge. Different this time. By the time we go to the ballots, we may have 60 or 70 million people that have already cast their votes. That would be half of what cast their votes in the last one. That's huge. So late deciders may be very small. And if Trump thinks he's going to get late breakers and it's a tenth of what it was, even a quarter of what it was, that's not good news. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. People have been asking me all day, over the last several days, about what took place at the New York Post and their releasing emails and all this stuff about the found, when really was just left behind by all accounts, laptop of Hunter Biden and the whole thing with Joe being the crime family. And of course, Joe's pissed.
Mr. Biden, what is your response to the New York Post story about your son, sir?
I know you'd ask it. I had no response. It's another smear campaign. Right at your rally. Those are the questions you always ask.
It's another smear campaign. That's it. That's all it is. I don't care. Chad, you should. No. It's not that I don't care about what may or may not be in there. At this point in time, I'm looking around and asking the question. If you're a small business owner, are you going, well, I hope Trump wins because even if it means could be bad things for my business, as long as they catch that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. All right? Are you not sleeping at night because I hope they catch him because he's the most corrupt human being in the history of human beings. There's never been anybody more corrupt. Look at this, all this bad stuff he's done. Nobody, the average person's thinking, I need to keep the lights on, food on the table, and a roof over our head till we get through this pandemic. I need to figure out how much longer I'm going to have to work 2 jobs, or are my kids going to go back to school? Those are the things that people are caring about at this moment in time. Not that this isn't important if it turns out to be absolutely 100% right. And I'm not talking about the sex stuff with the drugs and any of that stuff. I don't care about that. Somebody at their lowest point, I would never exploit that. Don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to give a hard pass on that. No, I don't care. Sorry. That stuff means nothing to me. Was he working dirty deals? It's potential. How dirty were there? I don't know. But what I do know is the average person doesn't really give much care at this moment in time. If this was a regular time in the world, we didn't have pandemic, the economy was rolling along as it was, and we were sitting in the position we were pre-coronavirus, this story would be much bigger. But when you're worried about what you're going to do today with your kids as far as school goes, you're worried about, okay, I can only work 6 hours today and no hours for the next 2 days, and then another 6, so I better start picking up extra shifts. What are the stimulus options that are coming? Is there going to even be any stimulus options? How do I need to distance myself from people because I've got my mother living with me? Those kind of things. Hunter Biden and this mean very little. In a normal situation, potentially, this could be much bigger. But at the end of the day, you've also got to think about who's the messenger. Donald Trump has surrounded himself with nefarious characters, people who have only been out for themselves, who some of which are in jail, and he's pardoned, others that are still in jail. So it's tough to sit there and point fingers when you're the king of nepotism. And I'm not blaming him. Look, king of nepotism, I got news for you. I make $1 billion. You think my kid's going to suffer because I want to prove him a lesson? Hell no. That's stupid. But in saying that, it's tough if you're pointing fingers when people are still trying to figure out what's going on in today's world where they need to live till tomorrow and keep their head above water. Because right now, it's an 8-minute ride from the bottom of that ocean to the top, and you feel like you've got 6 minutes of oxygen, and you need to figure out how you either conserve it or somebody gives you some other oxygen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. MyPillow. Fantastic. MyPillow's fantastic. So, I sleep like a dream. In fact, let's take a look at my little thing. So I didn't get a lot of sleep last night at all, but I went to bed extra early. I always think that, but then I never end up doing that. A little over 4 hours of sleep. Got to get up early, but I slept like a dream because when you go and look at my thing, I got good sleep. Almost 80% of my sleep was deep sleep. I should get a great mattress, but on top of that, I've got my Giza Dream Sheets. Right? It's amazing. They fit. They're comfortable. They're cool. Slide them onto my bed, and they've got deep pockets. I've washed them a bunch of times, different colors. I don't worry about them shrinking. It's ultra soft, breathable cotton. You get a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty, and different colors, different sizes. It is incredible. Right now, from MyPillow, you can get your Giza Dream Bed Sheets at MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. When you do, you receive a 2-for-1 low pricing plus free shipping. That's MyPillow.com, 2-for-1 low pricing on the Giza bed sheets with promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
I want to do it at a bigger number than she wants. That doesn't mean all the Republicans agree with me, but I think they will in the end. If she would go along, I think they would too on stimulus. So let's see what happens. We're talking about it. I think Nancy Pelosi maybe is coming along. We'll find out.
We'll see. That's what people care about. That right there is exactly what people care about. Stimulus. What are you going to do for the stimulus? So they haven't talked in a year. Supposedly they're going to talk today. They've been talking back and forth through surrogates, and she's got her people, and Trump sends over the Mnuchins of the world or whoever that he thinks can get something done. And then on the other side, you've got Mitch McConnell that, for all intents and purposes, like several Republicans, I think has distanced himself from the Republicans and kind of doing his own things. And he looked at Trump as a vessel, which is, you got us to switch the court system. It's flipped in our favor. We've appointed some 200-plus federal judges, and this Thursday, in theory, we're going to have a vote for our third Supreme Court justice, making it 6-3 if that's the way that everybody thinks they vote, or at least 5-4. So you've done your bidding. I could care less what happens to you. I don't think you're going to see – I don't think Mitch McConnell's going to cry crocodile tears if he wins, and he's been in a much harder fought battle. I still think he ekes it out. Different for maybe Graham. He may lose. But at the end of the day, people care about this. Like, what are you doing to help the American people? This thing isn't going anywhere. And despite your going out there and say, oh, yeah, this thing's almost done. It's almost gone. We're almost there. We all want a normal life.
Normal life. That's all we want. We want normal life, right? We want to be where we were 7 months ago, right?
Everybody does. We're not quite there yet. Now we're getting closer to a vaccine, which is fantastic. And I give Trump massive props for that. Most people won't. Oh, this is funny. They'll call it the Trump vaccine. They'll say that they would never take it at all. But if it goes well and his pressuring the CEOs, the scientists, the doctors on getting this thing done faster than anything else, he'll get no credit for that. And that's wrong. He should. Operation Warp Speed, when all is said and done, is huge. And it shows you, and I've talked to several doctors that have said, man, could you imagine what it would be like if they got out of our way? Just to give you guys an understanding of what it normally takes time-wise to get through a vaccine. So we may have gone from zero to a vaccine ready to roll. Now, not distributed, because that's going to take a lot of time. It's not an easy thing. But at the end of the day, this thing from, say, March through, let's say, November, you're about 7.5, 8 months. Here's how it normally works. The 5 stages of development vaccine. Discovery, research. Up to 100 potential vaccines. 2 to 5 years. Preclinical, 2 years, 20 potential vaccines, 80 have dropped out. Clinical development, 1 to 2 years, 10 potential vaccines. 2 to 3 years, 5 potential vaccines. This is phase 2. So we went from phase 1, is it safe, to phase 2, does it activate an immune response? So we've gone from, at best, 4, 5, 6, 8, which is phase 3. Does it protect you against the disease? 1 potential vaccine, and then 9. That's the lowest portion of that. We're talking months. If we went with the higher portion, probably about 14. On average, on the low end, $500 to $1 billion. On average, well over $2 to $3 billion. And think about it. You're starting with 100 potential. So out of those, 1 may get through. And out of all of those people have lost money that they're never going to get back. When you wonder why stuff costs so much. Because they got to hit it when it's good. Because when it's not, they got no money. They're just losing money. But that shows you the length of time. So Operation Warp Speed and where it's gone, yeah, I can give them credit for that. But people care about what are you doing today at this point in time? How are you going to get this done? And that's not just for Trump. That's Nancy Pelosi. And the way she treated Wolf Blitzer last week, and she went after him as if Wolf Blitzer is some sort of stooge for the White House because he's asking serious questions. And she doesn't want to answer any of them because, she works for her constituents. She understands the pain of the average person, which is a bunch of crap. You know it and I know it. It's politics. Everybody's over it. Get something done. This is your job. And if you can't get something done, then tell the governors to get the hell out the way so people can work. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Not too far away. So we got our third debate, kinda, because it's 2.5. The first debate, went off with all kind of issues. Second debate was canceled, but they still managed to have plenty of TV time, of which Joe Biden won that. People turn in and say, is this guy a bumbling fool? Is he an idiot? And then we're going to have our third debate. Kristen Welker is going to have that Thursday night. Does it help Trump? Does it hurt Trump? I don't know. Is it possible it could help him? Absolutely. Trump's just something much different. And the question I've asked, and a lot of different things, is what happens if, right? So you don't win. What do you do at that point in time? Democrats, they've been stocking their farm team, if you will, for the last several years. The Republicans have a few decent younger people out there, but you've got to think not just are they good at what they do in Congress or the Senate, but do they have a profile to raise it? Because you look around, I don't think either of these have amazing high-profile people that are ready to step in. Pete Buttigieg was a little bit too young. I think that was his biggest flaw, if you will, if you want to call that a flaw. I don't think that many of us would be like, yeah, that sounds great. Over there on the Republican side, who do they have that would be ready to take that next mantle? Because here's something else. Trump demands a crowd. Trump demands an audience. Trump gets it. When he walks in a room, he is there.
This is the media critique that I hear most often. It's that President Trump gets too much attention, too much airtime, and he crowds out everyone and everything else. And this has been going on for 5 years. I was pointing out that Trump was sucking up all the oxygen in the proverbial room during the GOP primary, winning far more nightly news coverage than other GOP candidates. Now, flash forward to 2020, and Trump still dominates TV. So what's this about? Well, it reminds me of the old saying that plane crashes are news, but all the planes that land safely don't make the news.
Yeah, it bleeds, it leads. As we said with the shark bites, right? Right. How many sharks live in the ocean? Well, a ton. Not as many as it used to be, but the reality is we only talk about sharks when it's Shark Week, and nobody really cares about why the bull shark has this teeth this direction and the tiger shark has serrated teeth. They want to know, hey, show me the stuff. Show me the attacks. That's what they want to know, because it's such a rarity. It is such a rarity. We've talked about it in this country, all kinds of things. Why does George Floyd case, as awful as it is? Because the reality is, if you go and look at the number of contacts between individuals, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, and the police, 99.99% of them come off without anything other than a warning, a ticket. There isn't this situation where everything is like that. But what makes the news, A, the news decides, but B, if it bleeds, it leads. If it crashes, landing an airplane every single day doing your job is not news. If you smash into a mountain, you've made news.
Trump tends to hold more events and talk longer and tweet more. Biden, on the other hand, is protecting his lead in the polls with a less is more approach. Impossible to actually measure Trump fatigue, but it is real, even among, quote, diehard Trump supporters. They feel trapped inside a reality TV show, and they want a break even if they don't want a new program. He remains a massive news story that newsrooms have to cover.
Yeah. And if I'm Trump, if I lose, not saying you will, if I lose, maybe I think of this.
And I don't think it's necessary for Sleepy Joe to constantly, he walks onto a stage, the people are, number one, there's no people there. And the few people that are there are like, 50 yards away? And the mask is always so large, it's like covers the whole thing. I shouldn't joke, because you know what? Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
If Trump was to lose, you know what I would do if I was him? I don't know if I'd do exactly that. Although you got some nice courses around the globe. You might want to go over, hang out there, hit golf balls. I would never give the satisfaction of what Brian Stelter's talking about. One of the reasons he's covered so much is because he is news. He makes news. He is an industry all to himself. You go look at the top 15 or 20 books on the New York Times bestseller a book list. I can guarantee you most of them in the political realm have to do with Trump, and all of them that are on there are because of Trump. He is an industry unto himself. If I'm him, I stop tweeting. No more Facebook. No more Facebook Lives, no more interviews, nothing. I cut him off cold turkey. I said, you know what? You guys didn't want me. I've given you everything. I've lined your pockets. I've given you years of stuff to talk about. I'm the interesting one. Your people aren't. Guess what? You guys are on your own now. It would be huge. I don't think he can do it. I don't. And part of the reason is because I think he's built up something. He's built up something. He's given a voice to the people out there who felt like D.C., New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco were telling everybody, this is how you need to live your life. You need to believe in this. You need to do this. You guys don't believe in it. It's only because you're stupid. And don't worry, we're here to take care of you. How do you, if you're the media, though, what do you do? I mean, the blame Trump can only go on for so long before everybody's going to tire of that. And don't tell me that Joe Biden's going to be fun to cover. It might be different for a while, but after that, it's going to be like, well, this is a Ritz cracker. This is just a saltine. This is a vanilla wafer. Do you have any Oreos? You don't have any? No? You got a chocolate chip cookies? No? You don't have any Reese's peanut butter cups? This is all you're going to give me is a vanilla wafer? That's it? That's it?
Fox News, the beating red heart of the right-wing media machine, molds reality into a serialized TV drama. Think Lost or 24. Think Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. Think Westworld or The Wire. Every day, every night, there are what appear to be new developments in this entertainment drama. Some new twist to keep you watching. Fox and Trump have this in common. They both want you to stay mad and stay tuned. So this political entertainment careens from conspiracy to conspiracy, like a serialized TV drama.
As if CNN doesn't do that, and we all know it does, because Brian Stelter is that way. You don't think that happens over there, Brian? You don't think you guys try to keep people mad? Yeah, you guys keep people mad. Of course you do. You keep the people who can't stand Trump mad. You talk about all the evil that he's doing. You talk about how he's going to come and take everything away. You talk about all of that. You give us people like this.
I'm terrified. Listen to me, Republicans. Listen. You are the people in history they warned us about. They warned us about people like you. Pay attention. We're losing our democracy! Wake up! Wake up!
She's nuts. I'm just going to say it. And by nuts, I mean fun. And by fun, I mean I don't think she's all there. Because anybody who could think that, that's just crazy right there. She may not be crazy. But that thought process is. You don't think that comes from consuming nothing but the Daily Kos, the Huffington Post, right? Going to every single thing you can find that has a disdain for Trump, or is telling everybody, hey, Trump is nothing but a fascist and he's evil and he's bad. Case in point, this weekend, you want to know why Trump? I'll tell you why Trump. This weekend, San Francisco, a free speech. Now, what was San Francisco back in the day? Free speech, hate Ashbury, it's all love, it's all this, that, and the other. They were going to have a free speech get together. Now free speech means fascism to some people.
Some well-known conservative personalities were on the agenda to speak at that rally today, but organizers canceled the event minutes after it started. Police say several people participating in the rally were injured, as well as 3 officers when they were sprayed with pepper spray. A warning now, some may find the following video disturbing. A witness captured the scene as a protester punched rally organizer Philip Anderson before his speech.
Yes, dude's going to go. So this is free speech, right? So we're going to have a free speech. We're going to get together and have a little free speech rally. Free speech. Free speech. Free speech. Let me tell you, you have no right to not be hurt by speech. You don't. You don't. You have zero right to if your feelings are hurt, there's nothing in the Constitution that guarantees that your feelings won't be hurt. And based on today's words that you're trying to mold and change, based on the way that you now, it's no longer what you say, it's how it's taken, even the most benign statement to some people may be, well, violence. This dude was punched in the face, and he got it, too. They knocked his teeth out. They knocked him straight out his dome. And the stuff that people are saying, every time I see stuff like this, I say, this is why Trump.
They have no business being here. They're trying to build a fascist movement in this country.
We claim San Francisco for Jesus Christ.
They have no business being here. Why don't they have a business being here? Because they're fascist. You mean the black guy who you just popped in the face, where you knocked his teeth out? Not you, particular man, but he has no business being here because he has a thought that is different than your thought. He has something in his mind that is different because he feels that big tech and stuff are coming down and slapping down people who have a different viewpoint because you feel that somebody's hurt. You mean that person doesn't have a right to have a saying, a thought, a speech? That he deserves some free speech and the opportunity to voice his opinion that is different than yours. So you show up, you're like, oh my God, should I go to Trader Joe's before or should I go to Trader Joe's after? And then you show up and you're pissed at him? You mean that person shouldn't have a thought that's different? Are you out of your blanking mind? Yes, this is what it's all about. And when I see stuff like this, it always makes me say, this is why Trump.
It's too bad he got canceled. It's too bad. But this is what happens when you lose free speech. This is what happens, America. This is what our country is turning into.
Yes, he's right. This is what happens when you lose free speech. Your totalitarianism and the want that you have out there is insane. Nowhere in the Constitution does it guarantee that your feelings won't be hurt. In fact, the reason it's put up there is to protect the fact that your feelings may be hurt from somebody else having a different opinion, which is the right thing in this day and age that you're allowed to have, is a differing of opinion, because that's who we are. We have freedom of speech, freedom of thought. It's nuts. It's the right thing to do is have your freedom of speech and to exercise that.
I think that the fact that they were outnumbered is important.
She thinks the right that they're outnumbered is important.
Right, because I absolutely believe in free speech, but I'm also anti-fascism.
I'm also anti-fascism. Why were they fascist? Just show me. Why? Because they believe something you don't, and so automatically that's bad, so we should shut them down because their opinion is completely different than my opinion, and my opinion is the only opinion I should have because if you challenge me with facts and data and I don't have any, all I care about is feelings. When you scream of fascism, let's just remember you're out there protesting against them. In a real fascist society, I think you'd be in a lot of trouble. Let's not forget that. That's why Trump. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing organization over 50. They're the conservative alternative of ARP. They give you a great opportunity to test them out, to try them out for free. Just great organizations. I've been out and worked with them on several occasions, and they are just, they're just out there. They're doing, stuff that, look, they're letting you know what's going on. They want to see people defending the Constitution, individual liberties, basic moral compass. That's what they're all about. And AMAC is fighting for everybody. They want the future generations to understand, hey, this is all the freedoms we have. These are all liberties we have. Cherish these freedoms. We fought for these freedoms. And right now, you can join AMAC, right? You can. Absolutely. I encourage you to join today. amac.us/Chad. amac.us/Chad. Join AMAC today. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Give them a year. See if you like them. If you don't like them, you get great benefits across the board for all kinds of things from travel to hotels to food and restaurants to movies, if and when movies are coming back, to insurance and everything in between. Join AMAC today. Benefits of basic membership are great, and the great thing about that is they fight for the cause, which is even greater. Join AMAC, amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
On Sunday, a new pandemic record seen at airports. Over 1 million people were screened at U.S. airports. It's a sign that travel demand is increasing slowly. It's still 60% lower than travel numbers a year ago. Airlines last week released earnings showing losses in the billions of dollars. Executives at the airlines say they expect it to be years before travel demand returns to what it was before COVID-19.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time. I was driving this weekend. I had to go pick up a new snake for one of our breeding projects. And when you drive between my house and Tucson, there is, and Phil, I was thinking of you, brother, it is a place where they all park their airplanes. And there was probably 1,000 737s and all the other airplanes out there. You can see them, and it's not just a graveyard, because a lot of times they just go park planes they don't use anymore. But no, this is a place they're all storing their airplanes, and normally there's virtually nothing there. It's crazy. What are you going to do with this stuff? You're not using them. On average, some airplanes, when not in use, could potentially be $1 million a day. The amount of money that they're losing is huge. And it's going to take a long, long, long time for them to get it back. And don't be surprised if you see mergers in the coming years or so, because some companies aren't going to be able to withstand what's going on. And because of that, they're going to have no choice but to sell. And so you may see less choice in the future. She went hiking, kind of, maybe, sort of, not quite sure. I just feel like something's a little fishy.
The 38-year-old Woodland Hills mother disappearing October 6th after taking a shuttle bus into the park for a solo hike through a canyon. But she never returned. Days passing with no signs of Cordier.
We were down to hours, basically, left of her search with their help.
A park visitor telling rangers they'd seen her in the park. Search and rescue crews finally tracking her down. The 38-year-old now being treated at a local hospital, back with her family.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, just feels fishy, and I hate to say something like that, but I think in this day and age, if we've been fooled by all kinds of stuff before, but you have a woman who goes out Her daughter said she's lost her job and she just wanted to hike some national parks. She goes out. Did she get confused and get lost and then make a bad situation worse by trying to find her way out rather than staying put? I don't know, but there's also not a lot of details at this point. But you never know. Was she struggling mentally? You just never know in situations like this. The good news is she's safe. She lost some weight. She's with her family, and that's good. But it's hard in this day and age of so many things that it's hard to believe. We become more skeptics than ever. The funny thing is we're more skeptical than ever, and at the same time, we're also more open-minded for things that fit our belief system. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter and Instagram. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on YouTube. Have a blessed rest of your day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.